be very quiet. These undead Knights Templar are hunting humans in today's movie. Welcome to Sick Flicks, where I take a deep dive into the cinematic sewer to help you embrace your inner gore geek. I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, and today we're covering Amando de Ossorio's atmospheric chiller, Tombs of the Blind Dead. Released in 1972, which makes this film as ancient as I am, this was the first film in a series of titles about a group of undead Knights Templar terrorizing the countryside. Yeah, zombie knights. Although director Amando de Ossorio didn't really think of them as zombies. He felt they were more like mummies with vampire tendencies. Doesn't matter, whatever you call them, they're still awesome. What's also even more awesome, or maybe bizarre, is that this film was actually pitched as a Planet of the Apes spin-off in some territories to cash in on the popularity of those films. You can actually find trailers for that version here on YouTube.
Legend has it, almost 3,000 years ago, a simian civilization of super-intelligent apes struggled with man to gain control of this planet.
At the end of the day, there's no denying that Tombs of the Blind Dead is amazing. But is it splattery? Let's get to the gore and find out. We fade in right to the title. Alright, good to see we're not wasting any time here. And these might be the most ominous credits ever. Listen to that music. Playing this backwards, probably someone's Baphomet or something. That or a bunch of Enigma fans and those horny monks. Do you kids even remember Enigma? Christ, I'm old. Man, over 2 minutes in and we're still in the credits. Maybe save some for the end, Amando de Ossorio. And still in the credits. Maybe I misspoke when I said it was good to see we're not wasting any time here. Nearly 3 minutes in, the credits do finally end when this hand basically drags them off the screen. What's that? Alright, jump scare. Okay, that was random. With that out of the way, we jump over to this seaside resort to meet Betty and Virginia, two of our main characters. They share some scintillating dialogue.
¿Y tú? Vaya estilo. Bueno, siempre lo has tenido. Recuerdo cuando me enseñaste a pintarme los ojos en el colegio con corcho quemado.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty random thing to bring up when reconnecting. Oh, Betty, you remember me, right? You taught me how to make paper ninja throwing stars on the bus that one time. Well, that and you poked Geraldo's eye out with it. Blood everywhere. It was a bad scene. I'd rather forget it. After some more jibber-jabber, we learned this.
Hago maniquíes para los escaparates. Aprendí el oficio en París. Aquí tengo más campo y...
Wait a minute. She makes mannequins? This sounds like one of those made-up jobs you see on an episode of House Hunters. Yes, I make artisanal mannequins for clothing boutiques and my house budget is $3.2 million. Then we get to meet Roger. It's really nice to meet you, Betty, but I'm underdressed for this occasion. Here, let me put on my shower curtain. Things get even crazier when Raj here invites Betty on their romantic camping trip.
Pues si os apetece, podemos ir a pasar el fin de semana.
Look at Virginia's face. That's the face of someone who just got friend-zoned. And since Betty can't take the hint, this twosome's about to become a threesome.
¿A qué hora mañana?
A las 4 en la estación de Levante.
Estaré en punto.
Well played, Raj. The next day, Betty does try to drop out, but Spanish Wolverine here isn't having it.
No, nada de eso. Tú vienes con nosotros. ¿Verdad, Virginia?
On the train, things are getting even worse for Virginia.
Demasiadas confianzas para el primer día, ¿no?
¿Qué crees que puede pasar el segundo?
Oh, nice, guys. Why don't you just cut to the chase and do it right in front of me? Virginia heads out for some fresh air, and then this happens.
Es natural, creo que hemos sido un poco desconsiderados.
Ya te he dicho que no tenemos compromiso alguno.
Man.
Algún día tenía que suceder, ¿no?
Pero no conmigo. Virginia es mi mejor amiga.
Wait, Virginia is your best friend, who you just randomly ran into 2 scenes ago for the first time in years?
¿Cómo puedes hablar así? Soy tu compañera de internado. Lo has olvidado, Virginia. Tu confidente, tu mejor amiga.
I taught you to put on mascara, remember? And then it's time for a flashback. Look, if I'm supposed to buy this as Betty and Virginia when they were younger, I'm not sold. They're dancing around and whoa, that escalated quickly. Maybe Virginia's not jealous about Roger after all. I don't know if these two are best friends, but I'm now convinced they're friends with benefits at the very least. Back in the present, Rod shows up and is like, I like where this is headed. Too bad for him, Virginia's ditching them. Oh no, she didn't stick the landing. Russian judge gives her a 2.3. So long, suckers. After a long walk, she ends up here. Damn it, this place looks nothing like it did on its Airbnb page. If you guess these are the same creepy ruins from the film's opening, give yourself a screenwriter's credit.
¿Hay alguien aquí?
Whoa, someone forgot to turn off the reverb effect in Adobe Audition. At any rate, she goes all Goldilocks and just basically crashes in this abandoned building. I'm sorry, miss, this is a no smoking room. She's checking out her new digs and eventually wanders right into a jump scare. Then she shows us why she flunked out of dance school. Smooth move, Princess Grace. Later, she calls it a night. And man, she's really making herself at home here. She even settles in with a good book and some Kenny G. Too bad for her, this episode of Law & Order Zombie Nights is about to get going. There's the gong. Don't look now, but there appears to be an underground fire out in the cemetery. That or this is a live look from the set of Snoop Dogg's Thriller video remake. These guys are rising from their tombs in a hurry. Hey, someone playing Kenny G up here? After nearly 30 minutes in, we finally get our first look at Tombs of the Blind Dead's Undead Nights. Anyway, this guy's even riding a horse. He's like, shit, I'm late. Better hoof it on over to the main event. If you find yourself asking, wait, where did those horses come from? All I can say is I have no answer, but that kind of narrative plot hole is a real nightmare. It's pretty stalling. Wow, that may be the worst pun in the history of this show. Back inside, Virginia hears the clip-clopping of hooves. Santa, is that you? She gets up to put out the milk and cookies, but instead wanders right into this jump scare. The knights then storm the castle, and she makes the classic horror victim mistake of running up the stairs when she should be running out the front door. She does make it to the roof, but the Templars are in hot pursuit. Oh look, it's like Undead Horror Geek here. See? Not even death can kill my beard. Eventually, she actually manages to find a horse and ride away, but the Templars are right behind her. Damn it, I need more horsepower. They catch up and drag her off the horse, so basically she's fallen and can't giddy up. Then they surround her and we cut to another scene? Oh hey, remember Betty and Raj? Yeah, they're still in this movie. They're here worrying about Virginia and getting a heapin' helping of breakfast exposition. It's got all the vitamins and minerals you need to get your day started off right.
¿Se refiere usted a Berzano? Es un pueblo medieval abandonado, no es interesante.
Una amiga nuestra ha pasado la noche allí.
At the end of all this, they decide they're going to ride out in search of Virginia.
¿Facilitarme un caballo?
El parador dispone de un picadero que les agradará.
No es eso. Lo que pretendo es dar un paseo.
Apparently, no one in Europe owned an off-road vehicle in the 70s. While they're getting ready to head out, the train guys cruise past Virginia's corpse.
¡Dios mío! ¡Hay que ayudarla! Cuanto antes nos alejemos mejor. Ya se encargará de todo la policía.
What a couple of good Samaritans. At any rate, looks like Virginia had a rough night. Raj and Betty eventually arrive at the ruins and find the graveyard. And speaking of literal plot holes, do the Templars just rebury themselves every morning? Seems like a lot of work. They dismount and the horses aren't in the mood to stir up some trouble, so they bail. Have you had enough horse puns yet? Yay or nay? And since they're stuck here, I guess now is as good a time as any for some exposition.
Son cruces egipcias, flameadas. En los procesos por brujería de la Edad Media se dijo que eran infernales, que pertenecían a ritos satánicos.
While they're following the breadcrumb trail of Virginia's abandoned clothes, they run into this dude. Oh hey, Mark Johnson with Keller Williams Real Estate. So glad you could make it to our open house. I hear you're an artisanal mannequin maker with a $3.2 million budget. If the off-the-rack suit didn't give it away, turns out these guys are actually cops. They're out here investigating Virginia's disappearance too, and they've got some bad news.
Su amiga ha sido asesinada.
The cops take them to the morgue to ID the body, and I gotta say, it looks pretty dead down here. This creepy dude shows them the corpse, but it's the wrong one.
No es esa. Queremos ver a la joven que llegó esta mañana.
Dude's gonna be stuck in this dead-end job forever with job performance like this. After the big reveal, it's time for some more exposition.
Pero esos mordiscos son la obra de un sádico.
De varios sádicos. Hemos podido diferenciar al menos una docena de dentaduras distintas.
From there, we jump down to the mannequin factory, which is lit like it's Mario Bava's Blood and Black Lace.
¿Para qué tienen esas luces rojas?
Vienen de la claraboya. Arriba hay un taller de rótulos luminosos y es difícil evitar que los prueben.
Oh, or that. As luck would have it, Betty's assistant knows all about the abandoned village, which means we're getting even more exposition.
En toda la región se hablaba de que Berzano perteneció a los caballeros. Estos guerreros adoraban al diablo y fueron excomulgados.
Back down at the morgue, the creepy coroner's skulking about, but he's about to have company. Virginia's all like, man, I feel so stiff. She gives him the mother of all hickeys, and luckily he's already at the morgue. It's a good thing he likes to stay busy because he's about to be buried in his work. Back in the main movie, it's like a Spanish version of Heart to Heart as Raj and Betty work to crack the case, starting with this professor. You know what that means. It's time for an exposition flashback. I really feel like we're getting our money's worth on the exposition here.
En el siglo XIII, Berzano era sede de uno de sus prioratos. Los guerreros orientales eran dueños y señores absolutos de esta región.
With that out of the way, we watch the Templars get to work. Look, we just want to talk to you about this new banking system we invented. Turns out this is actually a ritual sacrifice. Although, I don't know. Seems like there are probably easier ways to do this. These dudes are like, what just happened? Also, why are these knights wearing oven mitts? And then they feed. Of course, they were punished for these crimes, and here's why they're the blind dead, just in case you were wondering.
Los cadáveres fueron expuestos a la curiosidad pública como escarmiento, hasta que los cuervos les comieran los ojos.
Professor Crazypants then offers up this explanation.
No es eso. Entonces, son los mismos, los de antes que vuelven.
This cop has the same reaction I do.
Y no me he perdido ni una sola palabra de su fantástico relato.
And he's got an alternate theory of the crime.
Esa parte del río está a unos 10 kilómetros de Berzano.
¿Qué quiere insinuar?
Esos delincuentes están aprovechándose de una leyenda.
Meanwhile, Nina is working late down at the mannequin plant. Clearly, she's trying to get ahead. Too bad for her, she's not alone. Virginia is lurking about. They play a little cat and mouse, and then Nina manages to burn Virginia alive in one of the most terrible-looking superimposed fire shots you will ever see. But hey, you could say that even in death, Virginia was still pretty hot. From there, we jump back to Raj and Betty, who look like they've wandered into an Italian cannibal film. Turns out they're actually here to meet smuggler Pedro. And I mean, why not? We're over an hour into this movie, we should totally introduce some new characters. After some minimal arm twisting, he actually convinces Pedro to come to the ruins with them and spend the night.
Aclarar cómo murió mi amiga.
¿De qué forma?
Acompañándome a ver qué ha pasado en Berzano.
Not gonna lie, this kinda sounds like the plot of a Scooby-Doo episode at this point. Haunted ruins, smugglers, crimes. I'd have gotten away with it too if not for you meddling Knights Templar. They set up camp for the night, and why does this suddenly feel like it was a ploy for a swingers convention?
¿Quiere venir conmigo?
Pero estás loco. Si es una niña cursi.
Con mucho gusto, vamos.
So, let me get this straight. They're out here investigating a murder and looking for undead vampire knights, but everyone just slinks off for some sexy time? Seems legit. Pedro must be a goth in training, because he takes Betty right to the cemetery. She's not interested, but clearly they don't run a sexual harassment class down at Smuggling HQ.
Siempre he tenido prevención a los hombres en el último momento.
After the assault, Pedro's the kind of gentleman rapist who's kind enough to at least offer you a cigarette. Hopefully the Templars get him first. And, as if on cue, here they come, rising from their smoky graves again. They close in on Pedro, and his pig sticker is no match for the mighty shambling Templars. You could say they're taking a bite out of crime. Raj tries to save the day, but unfortunately he only brought a 4-shooter to this showdown, and he's a shitty shot. He wants back into the ruins, but we've got a catfight inside as Betty and Pedro's main squeeze square off for the women's title. While they're still duking it out, the knights are closing in. Roger's still trying to figure out how to open the door, but he's stumped. Betty drags him in, but the Templars are right behind them. Not gonna lie, I love that it looks like they walked right into a jump scare here. While they're busy snacking on Pedro's widow, Raj offers some advice and then dies.
No hables. Solo así podrás salvarte.
We should probably give him a hand for that performance. I mean, he needs one anyway. Betty's gone stealth mode like this is Amnesia, the Dark Descent, but her beating heart is giving her away. She darts out the door and past the line of scrimmage. She's dodging these Templars like they're pylons as she breaks into the secondary. Somehow, even though she's limping on one leg and the knights are on horses, she's managing to pull away. Damn it, I knew I should have worn my sprinting go-go boots out here to the ruins. She's about to get away, but here comes the train, which puts the Templars right back on her tail. This time the train actually stops, and that was a mistake, because now we've got Templars on the train, and it's like they beeline straight for the dining car. Somehow, though, the train starts moving again. I'm sure that's okay, right? It pulls into the station with Betty still alive, but as the passengers board, we hear Betty scream and get these weird photos. Yeah, the Templars are in the city now. Great job, Betty. Tombs of the Blind Dead has become a cult favorite over the years because the visuals are striking and the idea of undead Knights Templar is awesome. This first film doesn't have nearly enough vampire zombie knight action in it, but what is here is pretty great. It's sort of amazing anyone thought they should change this and try to tie it into Planet of the Apes, honestly. This one's not particularly gory, but can these knights slash their way to a respectable number of barf bags? Let's go to the gore card. In terms of gross anatomy, Tombs of the Blind Dead comes up light. We've got multiple bite attacks, the sliced up human sacrifice, and Roger's severed hand. But beyond that, there's not a lot of carnage here. What Tombs of the Blind Dead lacks in gore, it makes up for with awesome looking undead knights and some pretty cool atmosphere. But really, I can't justify giving this one a better rating than 1 barf bag out of 5. This isn't a sick flick, but it's still pretty damn awesome and you should check it out. Looking for another film with what might or might not be zombies? Then check out my review of City of the Walking Dead. You'll find a link here on the screen. I'll meet you over there. Until next time, I'm Mike Bracken, aka the Horror Geek, bringing you all the splatter that matters.